Well, Dr. Yemi Oke joins us now. He's a senior lecturer, Faculty of Law, University of Lagos. He's also the author, Nigeria Electricity Law and Regulation. Thank you for coming on this morning.
It's a pleasure being with you.
It's a huge sector. I mean, if we get it right there, we know that so many other things will fall in place. And you've written about this book. And how was this book received in terms of what you spoke about by the people in the first instance?
It's been a huge success in terms of the level of response so far. And at some point, I, of course, got invited to even come and take up the challenge that are revealed in the book. But I guess, of course, rightly so, because we were just about getting done with the privatization. And if you are privatizing, all of a sudden you now attempt to change the law. It's going to drive away the investors. I got that right. But then it's still a lot to be done in the power sector. I mean, I heard the chairman of NEC talking about electricity advocacy. Those are the issues I've engaged them with. I felt that shouldn't be the last thing. We should have started with that. A whole lot. You can't even, under the law, I mean, the current law that we operate in Nigeria, you cannot even start to increase electricity tariffs. There are structured methodologies, tariffs, methodologies.
But we see that happening.
You see, those are the issues. Those are, you cannot even increase electricity tariffs without metering every home, every consumer. You cannot even do that without having what is called PCAF. PCAF is Power Consumer Assistance Fund. It is a mitigating device. It is a kind of indirect subsidy for low-income earners, for underprivileged Nigerians. Because if you jack up tariffs, you're going to, of course, they're going to be in blackout. They're going to be in darkness. So it's to put indirectly money in the pockets of Nigerians to be able to consume electricity. As you really want to jack it up reasonably, you need to have PCAF in place. PCAF has not, the Power Consumer Assistance Fund, PCAF has not been in place until we took them up at a forum. Then that's, oh, that's true. By the way, we're learning. It's a new area, definitely. The law is growing. We're still making our mistakes, but then we need to move very fast. It's still a long way to go.
So many things going on in that sector, and you ask yourself, okay, look, how do they start? Where do they get it right? The ones they've done, can they correct anything? But let's go back to this metering that you spoke about. Several policies have come forward. Yes, at the time, they were supposed to meter everybody. At the time, they had another special plan wherein you fund it partly, or you buy, and then they refund your monies. All of those policies have been tried several times, but it just doesn't seem to be achieving its desired result.
Yeah, yes, it gives cause for worry, a serious one for that matter. But then, I look at the politics of metering, of course. Once everybody is metered, you're going to have something close to accurate levels of consumption, consumption patterns for homes, for industries, and for commercial entities. Then the new owners will want to recoup their money as much as possible. So once we meter, that is going to reduce consumption patterns of Nigerians, because they're going to be effectively be able to control their consumption. Then I think that is a kind of an arrangement for them to still continue to do estimated billing, even for commercial billing, of course, for them to be able to recoup their money. Once we
That's because they've not properly.
Definitely, I strongly oppose that, because I want to be metered, I want to be in control of what I consume. But then you understand the environment. Okay, take it easy, we're going to do that, maybe now, maybe later. Again, it's got to be inbuilt into the money you pay. Over time, it gets deducted. But they're changing it. Meters are supposed to be free, really, for every home. But then, whether we're going to get there or not is another thing.
But it has not been free.
I doubt if it's going to be free. You may have it, but then it's deducted over time, as we build from time to time. But then the power sector, a whole lot of issues. I would think the state government are responsible, and I want to say this one loud and clear, because the constitution is the basis for everything. Nigerians tend to think power is an exclusive item. No, if you check the constitution, second schedule, power is a concurrent issue. The state and the federal government can legislate, and the law is very clear. If you look at the constitution, what the law says is that federal government will have power to legislate in respect of areas under the national grid, international energy issues and related stuff. But that's item 13 of the second schedule. Directly, item 14 provided expressly for state to legislate state houses of assembly to make powers in respect of areas not covered by the national grid. It also gives power to states to be able to set up regulatory institutions, bodies to manage electricity that is generated.
So they can have their own.
So what the law says is clear. States can expressly take things, generate, transmit, and distribute. Nobody has challenged me on that.
Within the state.
Within the
But
state.
I've heard governors say that they can't do that unless they
that's
have
the
to
problem.
get to the national grid.
That is the problem, because Nigerian Electricity Sector Reforms Act of 2005 says everything must come to the NEC, National Electricity Regulatory Commission. So what the law says is different and at variance with what the Constitution says. Those are the issues, really. Even when in looking at the regulatory and legal frameworks, I came up with about 200 errors in the laws. Really, these are documented, which I'm not even going to put on the table now. It's still a long way to go. We need to move slowly. We need to make our mistakes and correct them so quickly.
It looks, sorry to cut you here, it looks ambiguous to me, and amazing that you're bringing this, because for a state like Lagos State, most Lagosians know the effort of the state government in trying to generate electricity.
Yes.
But when you talk about this particular law, which people had over the years thought rests with the federal government, restricting the states from actually distributing this electricity that has been generated, what would you be saying in trying to explain that particular section? I want us to go through it again, knowing for instance, that Lagos as a case study also has a lawyer, a senior advocate that sits at the helm. What understanding do you have on this particular law that the state like Lagos and a couple of other states that have made efforts to generate its own power haven't been able to understand?
Thank you very much. I have engaged them and they listen to me positively. Of course, the regulatory environment is still somehow skewed in favor of the federal government. We shouldn't be. Expressly, we should have Lagos State, something like that, Lagos State Electricity Regulatory Commission or Agency. We should have Ogun State Electricity Regulatory Commission or Agency. We should have Kebbi State. We should have for all the states expressly. Under the Constitution, the states can do that. And I'm not missing my words about that. The states can do that. They've not been doing it, perhaps due to the environment. Then, Lagos State is deployed extensively and commendably so the mechanism of decentralized energy option, which was a concept I put up even in the paper, in the book. The concept of decentralized electricity energy option is because we need power, and we need power aggressively. States like Lagos, where we have dump sites, we can generate power from biomass. Areas that are very hot, we can generate power from solar. Areas like Jos, where we have a kind of wind turbines, we can generate wind power. It's such that we need to go do something called energy grabbing. Just grab whatever you can get and have it decentralized. You can power small communities. That's what Lagos State government is doing now. They're doing that through gas. We have a lot, even the national chairman of the NEC mentioned it. We need to move from national grid to concession grid. Okay, Lagos State government have this part exclusively for you because of your strategic importance. We should have a lot of off-grid generation. You mentioned something in the realm of, you mentioned something like a captive power embedded generation. Captive simply means areas under the law. Once you generate in excess of 1 megawatt, you need license from the NERC. If Channels wants to generate its own power and the power generated is in excess of 1 megawatt, you need to get license to generate from NERC.
How about to distribute? Where can you distribute?
So you most times people ask for license to generate and distribute. If you're generating 5 megawatts and you need 1, you consume 1. The remaining 4, you send it back to the national grid. Or you can have an off-taker, somebody next door, another company who's interested in buying the excess megawatts you're generating. And you have a kind of power purchase agreement.
And that's why people have been saying that, it would seem that the federal government still has control, because it would seem that the incentives to do this are not there. If everybody still needs to queue to get a license from the NERC, does it not just generally mean? And I think that then there was this perspective that if you generated over that, you had to send to the national grid, for distribution. I think that was only tweaked only very recently, and that's why we've been able to see that some states are beginning to take advantage of that. Where do you think that we are right now with this power? Because it would seem that it's been privatized, but it's been almost shown not a lot of results.
You're very right on that. Okay? You're very right. I think we're still not where we ought to be. Ideally, once it's not already on the national grid, it doesn't come within the ambit of what national or the NRC should regulate. The law is clear.
So as we are now, are you saying that if somebody generates to above 1 megawatt,
Yeah.
and you don't have to send to the national grid again?
Let me explain the way it should work, ideally.
Yes.
We generate 5 megawatts here, and we need 1. We have 4. The 4 is not already on the national grid. State government should regulate issues, power areas not covered by the national grid. If you need to transmit power,
That's what the law provides
that's
for.
what the Constitution says,
Now.
decentralized. That's what the law says. I said the Constitution provides for something, and the Act provides for something different from that. And which the law is that once the Act contradicts the Constitution, that is
Constitution is
void.
supreme.
The Constitution is supreme. So we should have embedded generation should be, it's not on grid, technically. That should be within the purview of what state government should regulate. Captive is disaggregated power generation. You generate 5 megahertz there, 10 megahertz there, 20 megahertz there. Those are not on grid. Rural electrification. The incoming administration in Lagos State, perhaps Governor Amos of Ogun State, a number of governors, state governors or government, they are really keen on doing rural electrification. It to surprise you to realize that even rural electrification is under the NRC, is under the Electric Power Sector Reforms Act, which shouldn't be. Those are not areas covered by the national grid, and that should come within what the state government should regulate. And the states are sleeping.